reaction.
All right. Parietal pericardium. Visceral pericardium, epicardium. Visceral pericardium or epicardium. Anterior intraventricular sulcus. I'm going to show it on all three now. Anterior intraventricular sulcus. Anterior intraventricular sulcus. Posterior intraventricular sulcus. Posterior intraventricular sulcus. Posterior intraventricular sulcus. And apex of the heart. Apex of the heart. Apex of the heart. Base of the heart. Base of the heart. Base of the heart. Superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava.
Wait, where?
Oh. Superior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. Pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins. Aorta. Aorta. Ascending aorta. Arch of the aorta. Aorta. Ascending aorta. Arch of the aorta. Aorta. Ascending aorta. Arch of the aorta. Brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk. Brachiocephalic trunk. Left common carotid artery. Left common carotid artery. Left common carotid artery. Left subclavian artery. Left subclavian artery. Left subclavian artery. Left subclavian artery. Okay. Now we're going to the left coronary artery. Left coronary artery. Left coronary artery. Left coronary artery. Anterior intraventricular branch of the left coronary artery. Anterior intraventricular branch. Anterior intraventricular branch. Anterior intraventricular branch. Circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. Circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. Circumflex branch. It's gone up onto the circumflex branch. Right coronary artery. right coronary artery. Right coronary artery. You can't really see on this one or this one. Right coronary artery. Just imagine it's there. Marginal branch. Marginal branch of the right coronary artery. Marginal branch. The right coronary artery.
The red.
Mm-hmm. Right marginal branch. Marginal branch. Posterior intraventricular branch of the right coronary artery. Posterior intraventricular branch. Posterior and intraventricular branch, the right coronary artery. Posterior intraventricular branch. Great cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein. Wait, not that far. That's the great cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein. Middle 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 cardiac vein. Coronary sinus. That's the big one. Coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. Coronary sinus. Right atrium. Oh, sorry. Right atrium. Right atrium. Right atrium. Right auricle. Right auricle. Right auricle. Right auricle. Right auricle. Pectinate muscles. Pectinate muscles. Pectinate muscles. Pectinate muscles. Intraatrial septum. Intraatrial septum. Can't really see that good on these. Intraatrial septum. Intraatrial septum. Fossa ovalis. Fossa ovalis. Not a very good one. This one's big. Fossa ovalis. Right ventricle. Right ventricle. Right ventricle. Right ventricle. Tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Imaginary. Chordae tendineae. Chordae tendineae. Doesn't exist. Papillary muscles. Papillary muscles. Papillary muscles. Papillary muscles. Intraventricular septum. Intraventricular septum. Intraventricular septum. Intraventricular septum. Pulmonary valve. That's the aorta. Pulmonary valve. That's right, pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. Left auricle. left auricle, left auricle, left auricle, left auricle, left atrium, left atrium, left atrium, left ventricle, left ventricle, left ventricle, myocardium, myocardium, muscular area inside. This is also the myocardium, myocardium, myocardium. Endocardium, just the inside layer. Endocardium, inside, endocardium. Aortic valve, aortic valve, aortic valve. Ligamentum arteriosum, ligamentum arteriosum, ligamentum arteriosum. SA node, sinoatrial node, AV node, atrioventricular node, atrioventricular bundle, bundle of His, right bundle branch, left bundle branch, Purkinje fibers.
It's not on
Did you
these
do
ones.
bicuspid valve?
It's not on
Did you
those.
do bicuspid valve?
Mm-mm.
It's the only one I didn't hear you say. It's the bicuspid mitral valve.
Bicuspid valve. Good job, guys. Bicuspid valve, mitral. Bicuspid valve. It's not on that one. How did I skip that?
Are you still recording?
All right.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yeah. Go.
Okay, I'm just gonna start with what I know. These are all the anterior surfaces of the heart. So this is your anterior intraventricular sulcus. Anterior intraventricular sulcus. Anterior intraventricular sulcus. Start with the big dog. This is your right auricle. Left auricle. Posterior, superior vena cava goes into the right atrium. Tricuspid valve, chordae tendineae.
Wait a second. It went fuzzy. Hold on. Okay. Now it's not fuzzy.
Chordae tendineae. The base of the chordae tendineae are papillary muscles. These are trabeculae carnae. Alright, this is the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, go up into the pulmonary trunk, passing the pulmonary SL valve.
Did you use a moderator?
Not yet.
Okay.
Moderator band. Okay, so we're back in the SL, pulmonary SL valve. There's a little piece of it. Pulmonary trunk. Pulmonary. Come back in through the pulmonary vein, which is here. It's a giant vein. Going down into the left atrium. That section there. Passing through the bicuspid or mitral valve. Again, you have the chordae tendineae. Chordae tendineae, papillary muscles. Lower you have the trabeculae carnae.
Where was the trabeculae?
You can't really see it. Notice how the left ventricle is meaty. Will always help you. Trabecular carne is like
It's
down
hard
there.
to see.
It's hard to see. Up inside the right auricle, you have the, what is this called? Pectinate muscles. Thank you. Pectinate muscles. That's what those are. And then you have, I jumped around, sorry. So we're back in the left ventricle, go up into the aorta. This is the semilunar, aortic semilunar valve. Now we're in the aorta. The aorta has 3 branches. There's only 2 here. So I'm not even going to get into that. That's that one. You want to go through another one?
Are the pectinate muscles only in the...
I don't know the
auricle?
answer to that, but that's where they are shown, pectinate muscles. This one here has all 3. So you have the, looking at it this way, this is the brachiocephalic. This is the anterior portion. Brachiocephalic, left coronary, or left common carotid artery, and left subclavian artery of the aorta.
Brachiocephalic is what? An artery?
Brachiocephalic,
Artery? Or just brachiocephalic?
trunk or artery. Brachiocephalic, left common carotid, left subclavian artery. I don't know what else you want to know. Go.
Okay, under the circulatory system, this is the artery and vein model. These are your veins on either side here. This is an artery running down the middle. Number 1, right here, is an artery. It's also up above, number 1, and you will find things up above, all around, and also on the back of this model. So if you get confused, you can turn to the front if that makes it easier, or flip it over if that makes it easier. Again, number 1 is an artery. Number 2, the 2 sides here, these are veins. Number 3 is your tunica interna, tunica interna, tunica interna. This is your endothelium of the tunica interna. So you must say tunica interna, endothelium. Number 4 is your tunica interna. Let me find number 4. I'm sorry, it's very hard to find on this model. I believe it's going to have to be where? Veronica, do you remember? No, that's not it. I'm sorry. Pause it, Shauna.
Go.
Number 4 is your tunica interna, internal elastic lamina. Tunica interna, internal elastic lamina. Number 5, tunica media. Number 5, tunica media, tunica media, tunica media. Smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. Smooth muscle and elastic connective tissue. Smooth muscle, elastic connective tissue. You will also find number 5, or smooth muscle, elastic connective tissue, up above here in a cutaway version. Number 6 on the model, or your tunica externa, external elastic lamina, is going to be right here. Tunica externa, elastic, external elastic lamina, right here. Probably up above here as well. right here, tunica externa, external elastic lamina. Tunica externa, areola, connective tissue. Tunica externa, areolar connective tissue. And again down here, tunica externa, areolar connective tissue. 7B, tunica externa, adipose tissue. Tunica externa, adipose tissue. I don't know if it's up here or not. We can flip this model around and see if we see a 7A or a 7B. Again, tunica externa, adipose tissue. And you do have your tunica externa, areolar connective tissue, 7A. All right, last two more. You have the valves of your veins right here, right here, right here, and right here. Valve of a vein. And lastly, you have your common connective tissue sheath for your artery and vein. Common connective tissue sheath, which wraps right around to the back. Common connective tissue sheath for artery and vein.
Go.
Okay, so this is erythrocytes or red blood cells.
Okay, I'll be back as fast as I can.
You can't see the numbers. This one's right here, number 2. Those are lymphocytes. Number 3, we have monocytes. There, and right there. Number 4, we have neutrophils. Right here, and right here. Number 5, they are eosinophils. Right here, right here. Number 6, we have basophil. Right here. And number 7, we have platelets or thrombocytes. And basically all of the white blood cells, which are all of these ones, are leukocytes, in case that, she also asked that. And that's it.
Let's go. Go.
Alright, this is the cervical plexus. And it goes straight, cervical plexus has a phrenic nerve.
Where's the
Right there.
phrenic nerve? Hold on.
This one right here.
Hold on.
Goes
Mike.
to the diaphragm,
Goes.
Okay.
Alright, then we have
brachial.
the brachial plexus right here. It goes down to the median nerve right here. Then there's the ulnar nerve. Then the radial nerve. Then we also have the lumbar plexus. That one has the femoral and the obturator. Alright, now we have the sacral plexus, which has the sciatic nerve, the this one,
Tibial nerve.
tibial nerve, and the
Common
tibialer
nerve.
Okay, where?
Go.
this is the phrenic nerve.
Mm-hmm.
Phrenic. Part of the cervical plexus. This is phrenic. Phrenic.
All of them.
Oh, all of them. Oh, I thought you were talking about just that one. All right, sorry.
Frantic. One more time. Frantic.
All right, phrenic. One more
Did you get it?
time.
Frantic.
Say it with me, guys. Phrenic.
Frantic.
Good job, class. All right, now this is the brachial plexus. Brachial. All right.
Brachial.
Oh, that too. That too. Both sides.
Left and right. Jerry was
Okay.
left and right.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Further here.
I'm sorry. So this is
I'm recording you.
left. This is the right. Brachial. And you go down here in the middle. It means the median.
Your hand's
nerve.
in my way.
Oh.
Where's it at? Wait. Where? Okay.
Right. Yeah. This is the median nerve. Same thing on this side. So this is the left median nerve. This is the
Wait,
The-
no, right median nerve.
right median nerve. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's
Let-
Peripheral nerve.
Wait. Go.
For peripheral nervous system flat model, we have 31 pairs, 8 cervical, 12 thoracic,
Oh wait, it's too fuzzy. Go ahead.
5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. For cervical plexus, it's right here, right and left cervical plexus, and then it branches with phrenic nerve that goes to the diaphragm, brachial plexus, right and left brachial plexus. It branches with median nerve, and then radial nerve and ulnar nerve. Right median nerve, right radial nerve, and right ulnar nerve. Brachial plexus branches with median nerve, left median nerve, left radial nerve, and left ulnar nerve. For lumbar plexus, this is your lumbar plexus. Left lumbar plexus, right lumbar plexus. It branches with femoral nerve, which is superficial, and obturator, which is more kind of deep nerve. Right femoral nerve, right obturator nerve, left lumbar plexus, left obturator nerve, left femoral nerve. And this part, this is your sacral plexus, branches with sciatic nerve, left sciatic nerve, right sciatic nerve. And the nerve that goes to your tibia is called tibial nerve. Left tibial nerve, and this one that goes to your fibula, it is called common fibular peroneal nerve. So this is your left common fibular peroneal nerve. This is your sciatic nerve, and the one that goes to your tibia is your tibial nerve, and the one that goes to your fibula, which is, let's say here,
Right.
like this, is your common fibular peroneal nerve
For the right side.
on the right side. Right peroneal nerve, right tibial nerve.
ready, steady, go.
Go.
This one right here.
Oh, I can't see well. Hold on. I'm gonna have to hold it.
Can you see it?
Okay.
This is your hypoglossal nerve.
Mhm.
Right here, this is your accessory nerve. These two that are together, this one right here, the bigger one, is your vagus nerve. And this one right here is your glossopharyngeal. And then you got another two nerves that are together. This one right here is your vestibulocochlear nerve right here, and your facial nerve.
Oh wait, my camera went fuzzy.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
So vestibular nerve and facial nerve.
Oh, hold on.
Start over?
Start over.
Okay. So the one in the end right here, we're going from 12 to 1.
One on top.
Cranial nerves. So the 12th one is your hypoglossal canal, or your hypoglossal nerve, which brings you to the hypoglossal. Or do you want me to say that?
Action.
Okay,
Tilt
we're
it more.
starting
There you go.
from cranial 12 to cranial 1, okay? So this one right here is your hypoglossal nerve. Over here, this is your accessory nerve. And these two nerves that are together, the bigger one is the vagus nerve. And then this one over here is your glossopharyngeal nerve. Right over here. And then you have another two nerves together. The outer one right over here is your vestibulocochlear nerve. And this is your facial nerve. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And then right over here is your abducens nerve. And when you look over here, can you see it?
Where?
This one right here is your abducen.
Okay.
So now we have the trigeminal. It has the 3 branches that comes off of it. So trigeminal nerve has the 3 branches. And then this is the trochlear nerve right over here. This over here is your oculomotor nerve. And it comes off right over here too, to this one. Can you see it?
Okay.
So your abducens and your oculomotor on your right eye.
Okay.
So now this points over here are your optic nerves, and in between is the optic chiasm or chiasm. And then now you can see the optic nerve on the left eye coming out. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have the olfactory tract nerves. And then you have your olfactory bulb.
That's it?
Yep.
Go.
Cranial nerve number 1. Olfactory nerve. This is the cribriform plate. Olfactory foramina, cribriform plate. Cranial nerve number 2. Optic nerve, optic canal. Cranial nerve number 3. Oculomotor nerve, superior orbital fissure.
Okay.
Cranial nerve number 4. Trochlear nerve, superior orbital fissure.
Oh, same place.
A branch of the cranial nerve number 5, which is trigeminal, also comes out of here. Abducens, cranial nerve number 6.
There too?
It's according to Netters, so I pulled out the big dog here. Foramen rotundum. Cranial nerve number 5, trigeminal. Another place that it goes. Foramen ovale. Cranial nerve number 5, trigeminal. And then we have the facials, number 7. That comes out of the internal auditory medius. So I'm going to pick it up here. Cranial nerve number 7, facial. And also the styloid foramen, which I can't tell you where that is. Stylomastoid foramen, I don't know where that one is. Way down there somewhere. Okay, now we're on to the vestibular cochlear which is also the internal auditory medius. Cranial nerve number 8, vestibular cochlear. Jugular foramen, 3 cranial nerves come out of that one. Glossopharyngeal, vagus, and accessory all come out of the jugular foramen. And then the hypoglossal canal is the hypoglossal cranial nerve number 12.
Thank you. Go. We're looking at the cell body right here. And these orange fiery looking pieces are the synaptic end bulbs of different neurons, and they're attaching to the dendrites located on the cell body. In the center we have the nucleus, and inside we have the nucleolus. These red raised portions make up the Golgi apparatus, and the dark blue gray looking portion of it is the endoplasmic reticulum, and the little red dots on it are the Nissl bodies. The yellow circles inside are the vesicles, the synaptic vesicles. And then this dark pink portion right here is the axon hillock. And then as we go down, we come to the axon of the neuron, and the creamy part is the myelin sheath, and it's made up of oligodendrocytes, and there's the neuron of one of the oligodendrocytes, and then the plasma membrane of it makes up the sheath portion. Then on the inside, we have the axoplasm with the mitochondria, which have little squigglies in them. And the endoneurium is this dark gray portion right here. And the node of Ranvier is the intersection between each myelin sheath portion. So between each oligodendrocyte, there's this node of Ranvier, which is connected by gap junctions. And I think that's it.
Okay, and then the outside of the axon is called the axolemma.
Yeah.
And then the initial segment,
Would be right up here between the axon hillock. Right after the axon hillock, we have the initial segment.
and then then right here, like, kind of would be the trigger zone.
Yes, this would be the trigger zone.
All right. Go.
Okay, so this is a longitudinal fissure, and this is the transverse fissure. The gyrus are the raised areas, and the sulcus are the depressions. If you pull this apart, these are the superior colliculi. Up here, these two notches. And then below those are the inferior colliculi. And the pineal body is right here. And then the middle cerebral peduncle, I believe, is this area right here. The hypothalamus is right here. It's right above the optic chiasm, which you can also see here. It kind of goes up right there. The pituitary gland should be down here. It's kind of like hanging there. The infundibulum should connect the pituitary to the hypothalamus, but I don't think you can see with that. The mammillary body, I believe, is this area right here. I don't know where the ocular motor nerves are. And the medulla oblongata is back here. The corpus callosum is this white right on the top. And usually it has a sheath over it, like this.
Wait, it's blurry. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Why does it want to be blurry? Okay.
And that's the septum pellucidum. And then if you break this, that enters into the lateral ventricle. And the fornix is this area right here. It's kind of a triangular shape. The third ventricle is right here. And it's connected to the lateral ventricle by this interventricular foramen. The aqueduct is right here. The CSF flows from the third ventricle down the aqueduct into right here, which is the fourth ventricle. This brown area is the central canal. Arbor vitae is the tree. And that's it.
Go. This is the ear. This part right here is the pinna or the auricle. This is the external auditory meatus. We turn it around. This clear plastic right here is the tympanic membrane. This is the malleus. This is the incus.
Oh, we gotta move this.
This is the incus.
Oh, we gotta put that back in. Okay.
So we're doing the ear. We're going to start on the inside. This here is the tympanic membrane or eardrum. This right here is the malleus. This on the side is the incus. And this is the stapes. Number 5 here is the entrance of the auditory tube. This here is the auditory tube or eustachian tube. This here is the vestibule. This here is the lateral semicircular canal. This is the anterior semicircular canal. And this is the posterior semicircular canal. Take this off. This is the oval window. This is the round window. This is the cochlea. This is cranial nerve number 8 or the vestibular cochlear nerve. We turn this around. We have the styloid process.
Hold on, let's get fuzzy. Okay.
It's a styloid process. We have the mastoid process. And then we have the, what is this one?
The internal carotid artery.
Internal carotid artery, thank you. And then our last one, this is the pinna or the auricle. And then this is the external auditory meatus.
These are the 4 ventricles of the brain in which the cerebral spinal fluid is formed. You begin with your right and left lateral ventricles, or 1 and 2. From these ventricles here, the cerebral spinal fluid goes down the interventricular foramen right here. I'm going to turn this to the side. It drains down the interventricular foramen right here, right down into your 3rd ventricle. If I turn it this way, you can see that that 3rd ventricle is marked in pink. From your 3rd ventricle that it has drained down to, it then drains down the cerebral aqueduct, which is this tube here in the middle. From the cerebral aqueduct in the middle, you drain down to your 4th ventricle, again painted in pink for the students. From this 4th ventricle, it would then, if she asks, go out your median and your two lateral apertures. Go into your subarachnoid spaces to then filter around the cerebral column and the brain. So from the side, this is your lateral ventricle. This is the other lateral ventricle. This is your third ventricle. This is your fourth ventricle. The cerebral spinal fluid drains from your lateral ventricles down the interventricular foramen right here into that third ventricle, then draining one more time down the cerebral aqueduct.
Was it the aqueduct in the midbrain? Isn't that what?
The cerebral aqueduct in the midbrain?
Yeah.
Well, on the sheep it was.
Yeah.
It was coming down, and then your actual fourth ventricle was below the pons, I believe, somewhere below the pons and the cerebellum near that, if you're looking
Okay.
at it on the sheep. Okay?
Go.
So this is the superior, inferior, medial, and lateral rectus muscle.
Okay.
So superior, inferior, medial, lateral rectus muscle. And then this is the tendon of the superior oblique muscle. And right here, this is the inferior oblique muscle. Right next to the lateral rectus muscle. This is the sclera, which is covered by the conjunctiva. The outer layer of this would be the cornea, which we don't have, but it should be right here before the lens. This one right here is your iris.
The colored portion?
Yeah. And then in the middle should be the lens, if you want to say. When we open it up, this one is your ciliary muscle. And this is your ciliary body. Same goes for that. Ciliary muscle and ciliary body. This one right here is the retina. And when you open this up, this is your choroid. When you take a cut of the retina, you'll see your choroid.
So it's the red?
Yeah, or this flap right here, 23,
Okay. 23.
the purple.
Okay.
And you can see it here, this is like the choroid. When you cut the retina out.
Okay.
And then 25 still the sclera, part of it.
The blue?
Yeah. Or white. This one.
Okay.
And then this is your macula lutea, and in the middle of it, if you see it, it's going to be your fovea centralis. This yellow is the macula lutea. And then in the middle of it, there's going to be a dot, and that's the fovea centralis. And then this one right here, this is your vitreous body. This whole yellow. For here, since we can't see the suspensory ligament attaches to the ciliary body to the lens. So these ones right here. This outer part over here is your cornea, which you couldn't see here. And then you have your anterior cavity that has the aqueous humor. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, go.
This is your superior, inferior, medial, and lateral rectus muscle. Superior, inferior, medial, and lateral rectus muscle. The top part right here is your tendon of the superior oblique muscle. And then on the side over here is your inferior oblique muscle. This one is your sclera. This whole white part is your sclera. This is your cornea. When you open it up, this is your choroid, the purple. This is your iris. And this is your ciliary muscle.
The white?
Yeah, the white part. In the middle of the iris is the lens. So when you open up the choroid, you have your vitreous body, which is this clear thing. And you would have your retina, this pink layer. This is your macula lutea, and then you have your fovea centralis in the middle of it. This one is your optic nerve, which you can also see over here. This is your optic nerve. And that's it. What's this? Oh, and this one here is your lacrimal gland. That has the lacrimal nerves and artery.
Okay, and was there anything on the inside of this one?
This one was the ora serrata.
Oh, we didn't need to know that. Okay,
Yeah. Or it says ora serrata on here.
go ahead.
Since this is the ciliary body, we believe this should be the ciliary body of the small eye.
Go.
This is the spinal cord, and this right here is the central canal. And this is the gray matter, and this is the white matter. This is the anterior median fissure. This is the posterior median sulcus.
Let me just see what the whole thing looks like so we can tell. Okay, so do those one more time, the sulcus and the fissure.
This is the anterior median fissure, and this is the posterior median sulcus.
Okay, let me get back here.
This is the anterior white column. This is the posterior white column, and this is the lateral white column. This is the anterior gray horn. This is the posterior gray horn, and this is the lateral gray horn. This around the central canal is called the gray commissure. And this right here is the pia mater. This right here is denticulate ligaments. And right in here is the subarachnoid space. Right here is the arachnoid mater.
Wait, where?
Right here. Okay. Arachnoid mater.
The brown one?
The brown line is the dura mater. This is the epidural space.
The yellow and blue and stuff?
Yeah, this yellow area is the epidural space. Okay. And then this is the ventral roots of the spinal nerves. This is the dorsal roots of the spinal nerves. This is the dorsal root ganglia, or ganglion. This is the anterior rami. This is the posterior rami. And this is the rami communicans. And back here, is the sympathetic ganglia and trunk. And here is the transverse foramina of the cervical vertebrae, and it has the vertebral arteries and veins. And that's it. That's the spinal cord.
Go.
This is the spinal cord, and this right here is the central canal. And And this is the gray matter. And this is the white matter. This is the anterior median fissure. This is the posterior median sulcus.
Let me just see what the whole thing looks like so we can tell. Okay, so do those one more time, the sulcus and the fissure.
This is the anterior median fissure, and this is the posterior median sulcus.
Okay, let me get back here.
This is the anterior white column. This is the posterior white column, and this is the lateral white column. This is the anterior gray horn. This is the posterior gray horn, and this is the lateral gray horn. This around the central canal is called the gray commissure. And this right here is the pia mater. This right here is denticulate ligaments. And right in here is the subarachnoid space. Right here is the arachnoid mater.
Wait, where?
Right here. Okay. Arachnoid mater.
The brown line?
The brown line is the dura mater. This is the epidural space.
The yellow and blue and stuff?
Yeah, this yellow area is the epidural space. Okay. And then this is the ventral roots of the spinal nerves. This is the dorsal roots of the spinal nerves. This is the dorsal root ganglia, or ganglion. This is the anterior rami. This is the posterior rami. And this is the rami communicans. And back here, is the sympathetic ganglia and trunk. And here is the transverse foramina of the cervical vertebrae, and it has the vertebral arteries and veins. And that's it. That's the spinal cord.
Okay.
We're looking at the human head, a sagittal section of it, and right here in white we have the bones of the skull, and underneath it we have a very thin purple-gray line, and that's the dura mater. Underneath that there's a pink line, which makes up the arachnoid mater. And it's not visible on the model, but underneath that on the brain itself would be the pia mater. Right here we have the cerebrum. And in white, this big section right here is the corpus callosum. The septum pellucidum is right here. The fornix is this portion right here. The choroid plexus is this gray, purpley segment right here. The thalamus is this body right here with the intermediate mass. It's a raised bump on the thalamus. The pineal body is this little tiny raised section right here. And the corpora quadrigemina is this section right here. And then after that there's the mammillary body, which is this white grayish little circle dangling right over here. The pituitary gland is right here, and it sits in the sella turcica, which makes up part of the skull. The cerebellum is this portion of the brain right here, and the white lines in it is the arbor vitae, or the tree of life. The cerebral peduncle makes up this section right here, with the pons being there, the medulla, and then there's the cerebral aqueduct, which takes the cerebral spinal fluid to the fourth ventricle, which is this space right here, and then it goes into the central canal, which is this light section that goes all the way down the spine. And that's the mid-sagittal section of the brain.
Go ahead.
Alright, so now we're going to look at a different portion of the ear. This is the cochlea. Starting here, this is the vestibular cochlear nerve or cranial nerve.
Hold on one second. Go.
Okay, now we're looking at a different portion of the ear. This is the cochlea. This right here is our vestibular cochlear nerve or cranial nerve number 8. This here, which is number 19, is our scala vestibuli. Number 17 here is our vestibular membrane. Number 16 here is our cochlear duct or scala media. Number 11 is our basilar membrane. And our scala tympani we cannot find, but it is number 20 on this model. And that's it for this one.
What about number 1?
Oh yeah, and number 1 is the tectoral membrane.
Okay, go.
Okay, this is another model of the ear. This here is our tympanic membrane. This here is our malleus. This is our stapes. No, start over.
Go.
This is another model of the ear. This right here is our tympanic membrane. This is our malleus. This here is our incus. This is our stapes. Right here, our number 9, which is small, is our oval window.
Hold on. Oh, it's blurry. Hold on. Okay.
Is our oval window. This is our cochlea. The blue here, I believe, is our semicircular ducts, but if I'm wrong, please comment. This here, or number 12, is our anterior semicircular canal. Number 8 here is our vestibule. Number 11 here is our lateral semicircular canal. Here is our posterior semicircular canal. The yellow here is our vestibular cochlear nerve or cranial nerve number 8. Down here, number 10 is our round window. If we take our shell off, number 16
Where'd I go?
is our scala tympani. Number 17, way up here in the corner, I don't know if we can see it, but number 17 in the corner is our scala vestibuli. Number 18 here is our cochlear duct or scala media. And number 19 here is our spiral organ or our organ of Corti. And that's it for this one.
Okay.
Alright, so this right here, this is the torso model. We're going to be going over the blood vessels located here. So first off, we're going to start off right here. This right here, this is the common carotid. As you can see, it leads up to this one right here. And right next to it is the internal jugular vein. As for the external jugular vein, if you go right here on the left side, this right here, this is the external jugular vein. Alright, so now if we go closer to the heart, this is the superior vena cava right here. As you can see, it leads to the top of the heart. The superior vena cava branches off into both the brachiocephalic veins. So this would be the right brachiocephalic vein. This would be the left brachiocephalic vein. Right over here, the brachiocephalic vein leads into the subclavian vein and then the subclavian artery. So this is the subclavian vein, subclavian artery. On this side, this will be subclavian vein. And right underneath there is the subclavian artery. As for the, oh, also 249 right here, this is also a common carotid artery.
Okay.
And then this right here, 236, is the brachiocephalic artery. So right here on the shoulder, this should be the cephalic vein. And then underneath the arm right here on the armpit, This is the axillary artery. Oh, it's the axillary vein. And this is the basilic vein. Yeah, basilic vein, axillary vein, cephalic vein, or our artery. Alright, so if we take the heart off, so right here, as we go lower, this right here, this is the descending aorta. This arch right here, this is the arch of the aorta. The ascending aorta isn't on the key, but it should be somewhere above the arch of the aorta. So in this area should be the ascending aorta. If we see here, these vessels that are in the lungs, this is the pulmonary artery, and this is the pulmonary vein. The thing to remember is that the colors, the red and blue, are opposite in the pulmonary because the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood, while the pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood. That's why the colors are different compared to everything else. So if we go below the heart, right here, these three bumps, this is the cephalic trunk, which branches off into three arteries. First off right here, this is the common hepatic artery. The one on top in the middle, that is the left gastric artery. And this one right here, this is the splenic artery. Right below that, this is the superior mesenteric artery. This whole thing is the abdominal aorta. And then this bump right here, that's the inferior mesenteric artery. The blue tube right next to the abdominal aorta, this is the inferior vena cava. And you see these vessels that lead into the kidneys, this is the renal artery, and then the renal vein. And the same on this side. Renal artery, renal vein. Next we have these arteries, these vessels that lead off. This right here, this is the gonadal artery, or if you have a guy, testicular artery, and ovarian artery for the females. This right here is the gonadal vein. And I don't think they showed on the other side. Alright, so if we go lower, as you can see, the abdominal aorta branches off into two vessels. This is the common iliac arteries. Right below that, the inferior vena cava branches off as well. This is the the common iliac veins. These both also branch off. So if you look right here, this is the external iliac artery. This is the external iliac vein. The internal iliac arteries and internal iliac veins branch off onto the inside. So this is the internal iliac artery, internal iliac vein. And then if we go here over to the leg, this right here, this is the femoral artery. And then on the other leg right here, this little blue thing that gets cut off, that's the femoral vein. And if we go right here, this little branch that gets cut off as well, that's the deep femoral vein. And that's all for the torso.
Okay.
Alright, so another part of the torso model was the liver. So all you have to know is this is the liver, and if you look right here, number 300, this little blue tube, that's the hepatic portal. And then right here, this little red vessel, that is the right hepatic artery.
Okay, go.
Alright, so right here we have the flat models. So just like the torso models, I'm going to start with the carotid arteries. So right here, this is the common carotid artery on this one. And this one should be the internal jugular vein. No external. The external jugulars don't show up on the flat models. So this is the common carotid, internal jugular over here. If you look here, this should be the internal common carotid, and that should be the external common carotid. It doesn't show up on this one though.
Okay.
Alright, so if we go down, this right here, the superior vena cava, and then this is the aortic arch. If you look right here, as you can see, it goes down in the back a little bit. That's the descending aorta right there. Alright, so if we look at the superior vena cava again, as you can see, it branches off right here. This is the subclavian vein, subclavian artery and subclavian vein. And if you follow it down, this should be the axillary artery, axillary vein. And if you keep following it down, that right there is the brachial vein. And I believe this is the this is the brachial. Yeah, this is kind of small. Brachial vein, and this is the brachial artery.
Okay.
And this right here is the basilic vein. And if you keep following all the way down here, let's see. I believe this is the radial artery, and this is the ulnar artery. I could be wrong, but if I am, just switch it the other way. But I believe this is the radial artery, this is the ulnar artery. Alright, if we go back to the middle, this right here is the pulmonary trunk on the heart. Pulmonary trunk. And then these vessels in the lungs, this is the pulmonary arteries. And then the red are the pulmonary veins. Remember, just like I said on the other model, the reason for the different colors is because the pulmonary arteries carry deoxygenated blood, while the pulmonary veins carry oxygenated blood. Alright, so if we follow down here to the abdomen, this right here is the inferior vena cava. This right here, this tube. The tube right next to it, the red one, that's going to be the abdominal aorta. And then right here, we have the cephalic trunk, which branches off into 3 arteries. So the one, if you follow right here, this is the common hepatic artery. The one that leads to the top, that's the left gastric artery. And this last one, this is the splenic artery. This little tube right here, that should be the superior mesenteric artery. As for the inferior mesenteric, it should be here. I don't believe that's it though. I believe that should be the gonadal artery. So, what else? Oh yeah, this right here, these veins that branch off into the kidneys, these are the renal veins, and these are the renal arteries. So if you keep following it down right here, as you can see, the abdominal aorta and the inferior vena cava both branch off. This is the common iliac artery. This is the common iliac vein. These branch off as well, the ones on the outside. These are the external iliac arteries. These are the external iliac veins. And if you look in here, this is the internal iliac artery. That's the internal iliac vein. Alright, now if we keep going down towards the legs. This right here, see these 2 veins that get cut off? That's the femoral vein. And if you keep following it down here, this should be the deep femoral vein. And then on the other leg, it shows the femoral arteries. And then if you keep following the femoral artery down, the branches, these 2 branches towards the knee, these are the popliteal arteries. And if you go back to this leg, this vein all the way at the bottom, number 99, if you look at that, if you see that, this is the great saphenous vein. Now if I'm missing anything or if I got any of this wrong, please leave a comment, but I believe that's everything I have to know for the flat models.
Okay, go.
Alright, so this right here, we have the abdomen model. Pretty much a simpler version of the flat model and all that. So if we start right here, as you can see, this right here, this is the inferior vena cava. Right next to it is the abdominal aorta. Alright. Now, the veins and arteries that lead into the kidneys, those are the renal veins and the renal arteries. So the renal veins and the renal arteries. Now, these veins and arteries that lead down from the abdominal aorta, these arteries, these are the gonadal arteries. And then right here, we have the gonadal veins that lead off from the branches of the inferior vena cava. Alright, now I believe this should be the superior mesenteric artery, and this right here should be the inferior mesenteric artery. I believe this, I'm not sure what this is, but I think this might have to do with the cephalic trunk, but it's cut off, so it's kind of hard to tell. anyways, if you look at the bottom right here, the abdominal aorta branches off to the common iliac arteries, and then we have the internal iliac arteries and the external iliac arteries. As for the vein, right here is the common iliac veins, and you can't really tell if it's internal or external, but I'm guessing this is the external iliac vein, and the internal doesn't show up on here. So yeah, that's all for the abdomen model.
Okay.
Alright, so now this is the last model, just like the abdominal model. So right here, this is the inferior vena cava, and this is the abdominal aorta. Alright, now the veins that branch off into the kidneys, those are the renal veins. And then the arteries that branch off into the kidneys, those are the renal arteries. Now, this right here is the superior mesenteric artery, and down here is the inferior mesenteric artery. These two arteries right here that get cut off, these are the gonadal arteries. And then the two veins right here that get cut off, these are the gonadal veins. Now if you follow these two down, they branch off to the common iliac arteries and the common iliac veins. And unlike the other models, they don't really branch off into internal and external. So I'm guessing these would be externals, iliac arteries and iliac veins, but you really no internals. So, and yeah, that's it.